From our Washington, D.C. studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Hena Zuberi. A 2-month-old infant suffering from bronchitis has been deported by ICE. This and more on today's news, so stay tuned. Global leaders have sent messages of goodwill as Muslims across the world begin the holy month of Ramadan. The 9th month of the Islamic lunar calendar is observed through fasting, prayer, charity, and community gatherings. Ramadan began on Wednesday in some parts of the world, while other countries will start fasting on Thursday. President Donald Trump offered greetings and best wishes to Muslims observing the month. He described Ramadan as a time of spiritual renewal, reflection, and gratitude. He also prayed for unity and peace around the world. In Canada, Prime Minister Mark Carney wished Muslims a blessed and peaceful month. He said Ramadan is a time for prayer, reflection, and family gathering, stressing that Islamophobia has no place in Canada. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer sent his greetings to the Muslim community, especially worldwide. London Mayor Sadiq Khan set the city shrines as a symbol of diversity during Ramadan. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese called the month a time to reaffirm faith and practice kindness. He also acknowledged the pain many Muslims feel over what is happening in the Middle East. Lawmakers across the United States, including Nancy Powell, Ilhan Omar, Jim McGovern, Adam Schiff, Sarah McBride, and Tim Kaine highlighted themes of reflection, compassion, and community. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani posted messages of Ramadan Mubarak on his social media account. A 2-month-old infant suffering from bronchitis who spent weeks in immigration detention in Texas has been deported by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, along with his family. According to Texas Democratic Congressman Joaquin Castro, the baby, his 16-month-old sister, and their parents were removed. The family's attorney said they were deported with only $190 from their commissary account and were left across the border in Mexico. The infant, identified as Juan Nicolas, spent 3 weeks in Texas' Dilley Detention Facility. He was taken to a hospital after falling ill with bronchitis, but was discharged around midnight, and the family was deported soon after. Castro called the deportation heinous and said his office was working to locate the family, hold immigration authorities accountable, and ensure the infant's safety. The case comes amid growing scrutiny and protests against deadly and inhumane U.S. immigration enforcement. At least 32 people died in ICE custody in 2025, marking the highest numbers of deaths in over 2 decades. This year, at least 6 to 8 deaths in custody and related shootings have been reported so far. A coalition of 6 conservation and education groups has sued the Department of the Interior to stop the removal of history and science displays from national parks. The case was filed in federal court in Massachusetts. It challenges a policy linked to a March 2025 executive order by President Donald Trump. The order directs officials to remove exhibits seen as disparaging Americans and to highlight national achievements. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum later ordered park staff to review and remove non-compliant materials. The plaintiffs say hundreds of exhibits have been taken down, with thousands more flagged. They include displays on enslaved people at Independence National Historical Park in Philadelphia, climate science at Fort Sumter, and the Indigenous History and Acadia National Park in Maine. On Monday, a federal judge ordered the restoration of the slavery exhibits removed from George Washington's former presidential home in Philadelphia. The groups argue that the policy violates federal law and is arbitrary. They are asking the court to halt the removals and restore the exhibits. The U.S. National Park Service manages more than 430 sites visited by more than 300 million people each year. A group of Muslim students were verbally attacked during a dawn prayer gathering at Oak Point Park in Plano, Texas, Sunday morning. About 20 students from the University of Texas at Dallas had assembled for what they called a blessings breakfast, which included a short prayer before sunrise. During the gathering, a man approached the group and launched a verbal tirade against Islam. The incident was recorded on video and circulated widely. No physical violence was reported. Community leaders say that the same individual disrupted another Muslim prayer event in Austin, Texas, 2 months earlier. After the incident, Muslim organizations called on local authorities to respond. Mustafa Carroll of the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, in Dallas-Fort Worth, urged city leaders and police to publicly condemn the attack. He also asked for safety measures to protect public prayer gatherings. Shema Zayan of CAIR Austin warned that the harassment could escalate and called for law enforcement support. Plano police say they will review the case since a formal complaint is filed. More than 300 Muslim community members gathered at the Maryland State Capitol in Annapolis for the 2026 Maryland Muslim Lobby Day. They marked the historic launch of the Maryland Legislative Muslim Caucus. Community members, students, faith leaders, and coalition partners met lawmakers at the House of Delegates. They advocated for civil rights, education equity, youth justice reform, voting protections, immigration rights, and ethical use of public resources. During the event, legislators announced the creation of the new Muslim Caucus. Attendees seated in the House gallery received a standing ovation as the announcement was made on the House floor. The caucus aims to strengthen civic engagement and advance policies reflecting the needs of Maryland's diverse Muslim communities. A U.S. immigration judge has blocked the Trump administration's attempt to deport Palestinian student activist Mohsen Mahdawi. The ruling ended removal proceedings against Mahdawi, according to the American Civil Liberties Union, or ACLU. Mahdawi has led Free Palestine protests at Columbia University. He has lived in the United States for more than a decade. Immigration agents arrested him last April during a citizenship interview. He spent 16 days in detention before being released on bail after filing a legal challenge. His lawyers argued that the detention was retaliation for constitutionally protected speech. On Tuesday, attorneys told a federal appeals court the immigration judge had terminated the case. The judge acted after the government failed to authenticate a memorandum allegedly from the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. The document had formed the basis of the deportation case. Mahdawi welcomed the ruling, saying that the court upheld the rule of law and protected the right to speak for peace and justice. ACLU lawyers said that the decision showed the importance of judicial oversight. Ramadan prayers unite worshippers from Gaza to the Gulf. Details coming up next. An Israeli settler burnt a copy of the Quran in Jerusalem days before the start of the holy month of Ramadan. According to a video circulated on social media by Arab Knesset member Ahmed Tibi, the man burnt the Muslim holy book openly. Tibi condemned the act and called it a deliberate provocation. In the video, the settler is heard celebrating while setting the Quran on fire. He claims he's burning it surah by surah, meaning chapter by chapter, and praises the act. There was no immediate response from the Israeli government or major Jewish organizations. The incident comes as Muslim communities around the world prepare for Ramadan, a sacred month of fasting, prayer, and reflection. Israeli forces have demolished Palestinian-owned homes and farm structures in the occupied West Bank as tensions continue to rise across the territory. Bulldozers tore down 3 homes and agricultural facilities Tuesday in parts of the West Bank and East Jerusalem. The demolitions took place near Bethlehem and other Palestinian populated areas. Palestinian officials say Israel has intensified military operations in the territory since it began its genocide in Gaza in October 2023. They report rising killings, arrests, and displacement, along with expanding settlements. According to Palestinian data, Israelis have killed more than 1,100 Palestinians in the West Bank and East Jerusalem since then. About 11,500 have been wounded and nearly 22,000 arrested. On Sunday, the Israeli government approved a plan to register large areas in the West Bank as state property. Officials say it is the first such move since Israel occupied the territory in 1967. Palestinian leaders warn the step could pave the way for formal annexation and end prospects for a future Palestinian state. On the first day of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, Israeli forces killed a young Palestinian man in the southern city of Khan Yunis. Nasser Hospital said Muhammad al-Najjar was shot dead near the Bani Suhaila roundabout east of the city. Witnesses reported heavy Israeli firing from military vehicles in eastern Khan Yunis since early morning. They said Israeli forces also opened fire near the so-called Morag axis north of Rafah. A U.S.-backed ceasefire has been in place since October 10th last year. Palestinian officials say Israeli genocide has killed more than 72,000 Palestinians since October 2023. They add that hundreds more have died in alleged ceasefire violations. Ramadan is often a time when Israel increases violence in Gaza. Muslims around the world have begun the holy month of Ramadan with the first Taraweeh prayers. Scenes of devotion unfolded from war-scarred Gaza to the grand mosques of the Gulf. In Gaza, worshippers gathered at the damaged Al-Quds Mosque in the Rimal neighborhood. Despite destruction from months of Israeli attacks, Palestinians stood shoulder to shoulder for the first night congregational prayers after the Ramadan crescent was sighted. In the United Arab Emirates, thousands of worshippers filled the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque in Abu Dhabi. The grand white domes were lit up as people performed the first Taraweeh in a peaceful atmosphere. In Lebanon's capital, Beirut, hundreds gathered at the Muhammad al-Amin Mosque. The evening began with recitation of the Quran, followed by rows of worshippers offering Taraweeh, special Ramadan prayers that follow the last of the 5 daily prayers. Observers say that across regions marked by conflict and calm alike, the first Taraweeh reflected faith, resilience, and unity at the start of the sacred month. A fire at a displacement camp in Sudan's North Darfur state has left at least 60 families without shelter. The International Organization for Migration, or IOM, says that the blaze broke out at the Al-Umda camp in the Tawila area. Approximately 50 shelters were destroyed, while several others were partially damaged. Displaced families have been moved to open areas nearby. Many lived in makeshift huts built from wood and straw, which are highly flammable. The cause of the fire remains unknown. Earlier on the same day, agency reported a larger fire in the same camp, which displaced 237 families, destroyed 158 shelters, and damaged dozens more. Local relief workers say another fire last week killed a child and affected about 1,500 families after hundreds of shelters burnt. Sudan has been at war since April 2023, forcing millions from their homes and deepening one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. Pakistan's $1 billion syndicated financing has won 2 major international honors from Islamic Finance News for 2025. The Ministry of Finance said that the recognition reflects renewed access to Sharia-compliant funding despite tight global liquidity. Finance Minister Mohammad Aurangzeb called the award a sign of growing international confidence in Pakistan's economic management. He said that the transaction shows the government's efforts to diversify funding sources and strengthen external reserves. Aurangzeb added that the financing marks a milestone and reflects a more disciplined macroeconomic approach. He said improved credibility with international lenders helped complete the deal. The government says that the recognition underscores Pakistan's commitment to expanding Sharia-compliant financial instruments. Scientists have developed a new way to watch microplastics move inside the human body. The method makes the particles glow under special light, allowing real-time tracking. Microplastics are now found in oceans, farmland, wildlife, and even human organs. But scientists still do not fully understand what they do inside living systems. Plastic production has crossed 460 million tons a year. Millions of tons of microscopic plastic enter the environment annually. Current testing methods destroy tissue samples, making it impossible to see how the particles behave over time. Researchers have now built fluorescent material directly into the plastic structure, making the particles glow more strongly and consistently. The technique allows scientists to adjust brightness, color, size, and shape. Even fragments that break off the plastic remain visible. Scientists say that the method could help reveal how microplastics travel, change, and affect organs, and may also guide future health research and environmental regulations. That's all from our Washington, D.C. studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content on YouTube. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. Please donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak.